intro spiel
Mm-hmm.
and not butcher it, and then we'll get into the episode. Hello, and welcome to the Everything's Better with podcast, where everything's better with the people I talk to. I'm your host, Agent P3, aka Perry, and each episode I talk to a different friend and fellow content creator about topics that interest us. Today I have a special guest, Crystal Omega, who makes YouTube videos about licensed games, and he also is on Twitter and all that cool stuff, but I'll let him introduce himself. So why don't you introduce yourself, Omega?
Hello, Internet. My name is Omega, or Crystal Omega on YouTube, and I basically talk about licensed games from, everywhere. Like, the more obscure ones, and maybe some of the more popular ones you may have heard of. But generally speaking, I kind of like to talk about and bring up gems around this time that not many people bring up. Or uncover stuff that's just weird, because I like talking about that kind of stuff. And maybe in the future, I'll talk about some other things like animation, but we'll just have to see. But for right now, I'm just known for licensed games.
Yeah, and I actually found his channel on, and this kind of goes into how we met, which transitions to that, but I found Omega's channel on Chris's Discord server. Chris is one of Schaffer Productions. He's a big YouTuber. He's one of his friends, and he made a Discord server a while back. And he put one of his videos, I believe it was his Toy Story 3 video in Discord, and I latched on that video so hard because I actually grew up with licensed games, and one of the licensed games I grew up with was Toy Story 3, and I had a huge nostalgia burst from watching that video, and I saw he did videos of other Pixar games that I played, and I just really latched onto his channel. I just really wanted to talk to him about licensed games because I'm also passionate about that. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really happy you found that video. That was a really great one for me to work on. It was one of my, I still probably think the Ratatouille one's my personal favorite of the Pixar videos I worked on, but Toy Story 3 comes pretty close. That was just a lot of fun to make, talking about the PS3 one, and giving some light to the PS2 one, since not many people talk about, which, fun fact, now you could actually get that version, the PSP and PS2 version of Toy Story 3 on PS4 and 5 now. They just
you can?
They put. I think it's just the PSP version, but you can.
I thought it was. Well, hang on, let me look this up because I thought I saw you can get a Toy Story 2 for PS1 and PS5.
Yeah, they did do that, but a month later, they just put Toy Story 3, the PSP version, on PS4 and PS5.
That's the one I played. That's crazy.
So
I'm gonna have to get them on that.
Yeah, so
that's
now
pretty cool. Wow, they did.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they brought that back because I never thought they were gonna bring back the lower gen versions of that. I thought, oh, is it just gonna be the PS3 versions? They're just gonna re-release? But no, they went back to that version, which I'm really happy
That's pretty
about.
cool.
Because that is a version no one really brings up. Everyone knows about the console.
The PS3.
One.
Yeah, but that's one of the greatest licensed games of all time.
Yeah, it's it's still, in my opinion, the perfect Pixar game.
And I 100% agree with that. Yeah,
it nails what a Pixar game is, and
right.
I probably would still say I would rather play Toy Story 2, but as a game, Toy Story 3 is fantastic, and
it's just.
You all should play it if you get the chance.
Yeah, it's so good. I highly recommend that game. And that kind of brings me to sorry, I have a lot of memories with that game, but that kind of brings me to our first point, which is our history with licensed games and our the beginnings of us playing them and why we're passionate about it. So, Crystal Omega, since I actually don't know this, how did you get into licensed games, or what's your history with licensed games?
So I'm a 2000s kid.
Me too.
I was born 2001, and I grew up with a Game Boy Advance and a GameCube. And
so did Justin.
Yeah.
My previous host, he grew up with that too.
Yeah. Usually you see I'd see people grow up with PS2s, maybe a couple GameCubes, and maybe the occasional Xbox. But but I was a GameCube kid, and my first 6 games, I guess the main 6, as you will, were Melee, Sunshine, Sonic Mega Collection, Crash
Classic.
Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and then the last two were licensed games, which were Nicktoons Unite and
yeah.
and the first 2003 Turtles game.
Nice.
And those are both games I actually just did a video on, with Unite being like the first like true video I did. And yeah, I
played that too.
I just played I just got because I loved watching those 4 cartoons like of the Nicktoons Unite, and obviously I like the 2003 Turtles, though mostly I watched Fast Forward than the original series. So
I heard Fast Forward is bad.
Fast Forward is not that bad.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say
Back
anything.
To the
but
Sewers, I can see, but Fast Forward, there's I will defend.
I think that's the one that people. No, I think it's both of them that people didn't like.
Yeah, because Back to the Sewer and Fast Forward, they changed the tone and such, but Fast Forward at least does something really unique, and there's a lot that I really appreciate about Back to the Sewer. Though, yeah, it's there. It's not awful.
It's there.
But it's
Got you.
But it's not great. But I don't think.
Got you.
But I don't think Fast Forward is bad. I actually still liked it fine enough. But
okay.
Yeah, I loved those 2 games a lot, and I followed mostly the Nicktoons stuff. I didn't play the 2 sequels to the Team NT games until way later, but Nicktoons stuff I played. I then went to Toy Bots. I skipped Volcano Island for some reason, and then I played Globs of Doom, and then I went back to Volcano Island. So I kind of had all of them, and then of course I played Volcano Island on GBA, which is an amazing game. I'm not it's one of the best GBA games you could play. I will stand by that. And I played the DS version of Toy Bots, which was pretty good too. And that was my thing with Nicktoons. I didn't really play the SpongeBob GameCube games. I think I had most of them on the Game Boy Advance. Then
right. So you didn't play Battle for Bikini Bottom?
Unfortunately not. I didn't play it until way later.
Got you.
I didn't play that until I was in late middle school. But even then, that was
well, you still played it before the remake, so I consider that to be
but
yeah.
But it was still that was when I was that was around the time where I was finally going back to getting these old games, because before then I wasn't really looking for older games. I was just looking for the new stuff. But since late middle school, I've been building up a new collection of stuff. Some it's from my old stuff.
That's almost a decade. That's crazy.
Yeah, but most of it I did unfortunately sell, so I had to rebuy some of this stuff.
I've done that too.
But some of this I still have my original copy of Unite and Turtles.
Okay, that's good.
Unfortunately though, the Unite copy, which I think I mentioned in the video, my first Unite video, it unfortunately doesn't work anymore.
That sucks.
I know. I wish
that's a good game too. I remember playing it with my friend. I didn't own it, but that was a good game.
I appreciate some stuff. I still think in some areas it hasn't really aged, but in terms of
I'm sure, yeah.
But in terms of the story, how it's how the characters
interact and stuff.
That's A+. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, I like that too. It gave me Jimmy Neutron or Jimmy Timmy Power Hour revised with Danny and SpongeBob, and added on to it.
It was
I liked it.
It was a sequel to that Power Hour.
Yeah.
Which it was because they literally mention the Power
that
Hour
Timmy
happening.
and Jimmy have met before. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they really care about continuity. That, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah,
and that's crossovers in general. I dig that those kind of things.
Yeah. But then I guess the other ones I played on the GameCube, I did one day. I went to a garage sale and grabbed 3 licensed games that I used to. That one of them is the only one I still have. The other 2 I rebought way later on. But I got Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, which was awesome.
Wow.
Love super good fighting game that I don't know if I'd recommend it to non-Godzilla fans, but I think it is a really fun blast with other people.
Got you.
Power Rangers Dino Thunder, which takes an hour to beat. You can literally beat it in an hour. and um and this one is probably the most embarrassing one. And um the third one I had was Dragon Ball Z Sagas, which is the only Dragon Ball game I've played, and it was my introduction to Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And
Well, I'll do you one better. Well, not really introduction to Dragon Ball, but the first time I actually experienced the story was watching someone play Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is the newest Dragon Ball game.
oh yeah,
So
that's the RPG, right?
yeah, like the newest Dragon Ball game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the first, because I used to think Dragon Ball Z was kind of dumb, but that was the first time. That was the first time that I realized, oh, the story is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I can see why other people like it. I still probably won't ever watch it, but and people are probably gonna burn me for that, but I don't care.
I still actually need to watch the full series because I've only experienced it through like that and the abridged
game
stuff. Like those are my
oh yeah,
only
I started watching those too after watching Kakarot. Yeah.
Yeah, like those are my only experience with Dragon Ball. And
yeah.
I it wasn't the Budokai games. It wasn't Tenkaichi. No, it was Dragon Ball Z Sagas, which is still really funny because one time when I was like testing my recording software, I got into like this glitch with Gohan, and he was just like stuck in this wall. Like, I don't know if I still have the clip, but it was really funny.
Yeah, that sounds great. But yeah, I also had a long history with licensed games as well. I had a PSP. I didn't have a Game Boy Advance, so I was a little bit newer, I guess. I don't know how old you were when you got your Game Boy Advance, but I was like 6 when I got my PSP.
I think I was like 5 or 6.
You were 5? Okay.
When I got my Game Boy Advance.
Okay, so we're around the same age.
Yeah, it was like mid-2000s when I got my GameCube, which was like near the tail end of the system's life. Like, that was when the Wii was coming out.
Yeah, the Wii came out around 2006. Yeah, but the first game I ever played, I want to say was Cars, the video game on my PSP.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I would just get like the licensed Pixar game like the year afterwards. So I think the next year was Ratatouille, so I got the Ratatouille game for PSP. Next year after that, I got WALL-E. Next year after that, I got Up, and then I think Toy Story 3 was the last one they made before they stopped making Pixar games. I think Cars 2 they made into a video game, but at that point I kind of got tired of it because that's when I started to get into actual video games. But other licensed games I had were I actually played Truth or Dare, SpongeBob Truth or Dare, which is I think that was a sequel to Bikini Bottom, or at least the same engine.
It's like
the Battle for Bikini Bottom.
It's by Heavy Iron.
Yeah, because I remember watching people play Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I recognized some of the moves that SpongeBob did in those games. I was like, oh yeah, I've done that in Truth or Dare. I also had the Ben 10 games, or one of them. I had Cosmic Destruction, the Ben 10 Ultimate Alien video game. That was really fun. It glitched a lot for me, but I still had fun with it. But other than the PSP, oh yeah, I had Spider-Man Friend or Foe. That was a banger. I don't think it's as good as, I don't think people liked it back then or now, but I remember having a lot of fun with that game. And then on console, I had Amazing Spider-Man, which is based off the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and then I had like some of the good licensed games like Batman Arkham Knight, or Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight later on, Batman Arkham Origins, I guess. People that's becoming getting a cult following now, so I guess people think that's good. And Spider-Man PS4 like in college, but that's like way later. That's when that's after I became like a true gamer, in my opinion. What other licensed games did I play? Oh yeah, Lego Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars. I had that for PSP.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I had that for PSP as well. That was not a good game to me. I did not have fun with that.
There was a Cloudy game. I forgot.
Yeah. There's probably console versions too, but I didn't play those.
First off, I just want to say, how bored were you with that Up game?
The Up game? I actually liked it, but I recognized that it wasn't as good as like WALL-E or even like Ratatouille or Cars. Like it was something was off about it. Like I watched your video, I remember the gameplay and like feeling those emotions, but I think in the moment I was like, I just want to like see the story, because I just like the Up story so much. I just wanted to play through it. And that kind of goes into like, I guess our next point, which is like why we like licensed games. And I feel like for me personally, licensed games gave me an opportunity to like live in the worlds that I fell in love with, like in these cartoons and these movies, stuff like that. Like, I love Pixar movies, and I wanted to be a part of it. I actually I don't know if this is like a thing all kids did, but I would be obsessed with like the subject matter of the movie for like a couple of days after I watch it. So like after Wall-E came out, I was like obsessed with the idea of like making a robot that could save the world, and like playing a Wall-E video game kind of like gave me that fantasy a little bit. Or like with Ratatouille, I was obsessed with like cooking and stuff like that. And I don't think Ratatouille video game let you cook at all, but like
You do.
again got the you do.
Yeah, in both the 360 and the GameCube one. Like
Okay, I played a PSP one, so I don't know if you got to do that.
the PSP one, that's like a completely different game.
Yeah,
like, that's
I think it
actually
is.
I don't know if I'm. This is actually going to lead into my point, but that game is actually like a sequel to the movie.
Yeah, it was.
And one of the things I really like about licensed games is that a lot of them expand on the worlds of like the series. Like the DreamWorks games I'm talking about, for instance, like Shrek 2. That,
I played Shrek 3 too. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah.
Shrek 2 like expands on the world of the movie. At least the console one. Like not really the PC one, but the console one like expands on the world. Like you get like new characters you play as, like Red Riding Hood, that weird fairy, there's that leprechaun. There's this one point where you have to go into these mines to chase Fairy Godmother. And then there's also this one where you're at Jack and Jill's farm. Like it's cool. Like I like licensed games expanding on the world a lot more. Like because this is stuff you don't really. Some of the stuff is not in like the movie or show.
Yeah, like, and even like the Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know if you played that, but that kind of expanded on the world of that movie as well. It added more characters and like added more like backstory to Peter's, like, because those movies are all about like the mystery behind who Peter Parker is, stuff like that, which is I guess is dumb in hindsight now, but it was kind of cool to see like I guess more of that story, even though it's non-canon. I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 just retconned everything that game did, but it was still cool to like have that, I guess, in the video game form, if that makes sense. But yeah,
I haven't played either Amazing Spider-Man game, but I did want to ask, which version of the first Amazing Spider-Man did you play?
I actually played the PS3 one, so I played. Okay. That's when I got my PS3.
Because that's that is also one of those examples where the Wii one is actually a completely different game.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing I kind of like about licensed games. Like you get like these. Sometimes when they're multi-platform, they have like a completely different versions. Like the Pixar games, like for years when I see like someone review one of those games, like they would pick to one version and they wouldn't really look at the other one. Like it would only be one version. Like
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the YouTuber, but I think I know the YouTuber that does that.
Yeah, which I don't blame them. Like
yeah,
I'm probably
it's a lot of them.
Yeah, but it's like interesting to look at like how, let's say back then, like there's like two kids, like, and they get like the 360 version of Ratatouille, and one gets like the PS2 version of Ratatouille, and
that was me.
Like
that was literally me.
And then
or with Wall-E, but go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, like and then the other kid goes to his house to like play the other version, and like, what is this? This is nothing like the one I played.
This is the one I have on my PSP. Like, what is this?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this charm system? What is like? Why? What is this? Like, that's kind of interesting
right.
to look at. Like, I mean, for like the DreamWorks games I'm talking about, that doesn't really happen too much. But like for the Pixar games, like that happens like pretty much for all the games.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, until I want to say Cars 2, at least like console wise. Like I know handhelds, it's definitely different, but like for console,
was it on the PSP?
What,
Cars 2?
Cars 2 was on the PSP, but that's like,
I don't know why I didn't get it.
It's kind of the console one. It's weird because it's like it is and it isn't. It is because like it has the same structure, the same menu, same music, but like how the game is, instead of just like moving around all around, like it's kind of like a weird lane type thing where you just shift to different lanes.
Got you.
Like that's how Cars 2 is. But
yeah, I remember looking at it and like thinking it was basically like Cars 1, but with like Mario Kart items. Like it was like Mario Kart and Cars mixed together.
Yeah, and same with that Cars game on PSP. That's like also not like a completely different game.
Yeah, it was like Ratatouille. It was like a sequel to.
And the weird
Cars.
thing about Cars on PSP is that, unlike the console one, they didn't get Lightning McQueen's voice actor back for that one.
Yeah, I remember his voice being a little bit different. Yeah, I do remember.
Like
that.
on the console one, it's Owen Wilson.
It's Owen Wilson.
But
yeah.
on the PSP version, it's his it's
like,
his
sounded like I can't remember his name.
I think it's Keith Ferguson. I think
that's Keith Ferguson. He does a lot of other voices as well.
He's like he's like the guy who plays Lightning in like some of like the shorts and such.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of interesting. Another one I want to mention
he also does Harrison Ford as well.
Yeah, whenever like Han Solo.
Yeah, like whenever you need to voice Han Solo, or when they can't Harrison Ford, they get him to voice him.
Yeah, and honestly, what's cooler, what I really like about covering these, like looking at these 360 and PS2 licensed games, is that when you're like playing a PS2 game to Xbox 360 licensed game, it's like you're getting like an HD remaster of like a game. It's kind of neat to see. Like it's like you're playing, like it's like when you play Toy Story 3 on the Wii and then you go to like the PS3 version, it's like you're getting like, it's like you're playing an HD remaster of it. It's kind of neat to see.
Yeah, I actually did experience that, because I don't know if I said this in the podcast already, but I think Toy Story 3 is the first time I had the handheld version and the console version at the same time, and I think I preferred, I remember you saying this in a video and I agree with it. I prefer the console version for how much you can do with it, but I prefer the story mode, the PSP version better, because you actually played through like the entire story of Toy Story 3 in the PSP version, whereas in Toy Story 3 on the console, you just kind of play through chunks of it. It's kind of like the best hits of Toy Story 3. It didn't really feel like a cohesive narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
Sorry, I sorry about going on a tangent.
It's alright. But yeah, like that was, and of course the GBA, and DS, I played a whole bunch. Yeah. Like there's.
I got a lot of licensed games for DS. Sorry.
Like there's this Monsters Inc. game I played on the Game Boy Advance where, you like it's like this. It's not a Metroidvania, but it's like you have to travel around this giant level searching for stuff. It was kind of neat. It was probably better than the PS2 one. Yeah, and also another thing I like about licensed games, some of this stuff is connected to bigger like games. Like you can see like early beginnings for some developers. For a few
because go ahead. Sorry.
Like Toys for Bob, who did like the new Crash games, like they started with the Madagascar games.
Wow.
The first two Madagascar games, like they started with that, and then they would go on to do the new Crash game and the Spyro remakes.
Yeah, I want to say Ubisoft made. Hang on. Because I was while I was doing research for my Batman video, I saw like the Batman.
Vengeance.
Batman Beyond. No. Batman Beyond: Return of Joker PS1 game.
The PS1 and
who made that?
That was. I don't think that was Ubisoft. Like I think they.
I think it was.
But I think it was a different developer though. Like I think they. I'm actually gonna check on my Google thing.
Yeah, it was Ubisoft.
Yeah, they published it, but the developer.
Yeah, they published it. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but Ubisoft did develop a couple Batman games. They did.
Okay, that's cool.
They did Vengeance and they did Rise of Sinzu.
Got you.
And I think they did that weird racing game on PS1.
Yeah, this Batman Beyond did not do well on the N64 at least.
Yeah, I hear.
Got like 1.5 out of 10.
I hear it's,
for some developers.
Yeah, I hear really bad things about it.
Yeah.
Which
The GBC one did pretty good. It got a 90%,
yeah,
45%, 65 mixed reviews, but better than a
yeah.
1.5 out of
But
10.
one of my favorite connections that I just discovered recently.
Uh-huh.
So Madagascar 2, was developed by Toys for Bob on all that. The PS2 version was actually ported by a different developer. It's still the same game, like all around, but the developer was interesting because it was by the developer Idle Minds, who did the remat. They did a couple PS3 remasters, but what was interesting is that they would become Deck 9 games, and
Mm-hmm.
those people would do the Life is Strange sequels. Like,
Wow, that's pretty
yeah,
cool.
so like at least the sequels, not the original, but so
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
way you
And
could say
sequels
Madagascar.
are, yeah. Sorry, I was about to say that I heard the sequels weren't as good. But that's so cool that they worked on
Yeah,
a huge game like the Life is Strange franchise.
yeah.
So that's
So
pretty cool.
so you can say that Madagascar 2 is connected to Life is
Life is
Strange
Strange.
2,
That's
and
pretty cool.
that is
Yeah,
my favorite piece of trivia I found.
that's
Um,
pretty cool. Yeah.
and it doesn't go like there. Like I also remember the Shrek Forever After game was by XPEC, who would later on actually help Square Enix with Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, cool. I actually like Final Fantasy 15, despite it getting like mixed reviews. But
Yeah,
like, I enjoyed that game.
yeah, but
I'm actually replaying through it right now. Well, not right now currently, but I recently did pick it back up.
I still need to play it. But like, again, I like seeing like developers' beginnings like that. It's really
Yeah, no,
interesting.
it's cool to see where they came from and where they are now. But yeah, I don't have a good transition because segues are for nerds.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I guess the next thing we want to talk about is the stigma or like the public perception or gamers' perception around licensed games, like how they used to be perceived compared to how they are perceived now. So like I know like Angry Video Game Nerd in particular would do review a lot of like crappy licensed games by what's her name
LJN.
LJN, yeah, and like that was kind of like I feel like unless you can think of another huge thing that happened to get people off of licensed games, but I remember that was probably like the biggest person to call out licensed game, or at least tell people what everyone knew, but like say it publicly for everyone to agree with about how bad licensed games were back in the day, and there were only like a handful of licensed games that were like actually considered good.
Yeah.
Like maybe DuckTales is that's one that I can name that is a good licensed game.
The
from
Batman
back then.
NES game was pretty good.
Yeah, I heard that was good too.
Yeah.
So, and also the TMNT NES games, I heard those are good as
Yeah,
well.
except for maybe the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't really hate the first one. I'm not really like super into NES stuff. Like I'm mostly I'm mostly into like the N64, GameCube, like Wii generation of games.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
where like that's where to me like I think licensed games really started to like become bigger. Like they were always around, but like that was during the time where they really started to pick
Really,
up.
what game do you think? Oh, I said just saw of it. GoldenEye, is that the one you're thinking of?
Not really that, but like just like because that's when like THQ and Activision were starting to really publish more of these games.
Okay, okay.
Like
I
that's
got
what
you.
I more mean. And of
Who
course
made?
Disney.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask who made GoldenEye. A nice round question I had.
Rare.
It was Rare. Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo published it, which
Yeah.
which nowadays is kind of funny to look back on because now Nintendo published a DC and a Marvel game.
A Marvel game. Yeah. They published DC Superhero Girls and the Marvel
Ultimate
what is
Alliance
it called?
3.
Ultimate Alliance 3, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and even Sony's doing that too. Like Sony did like publish
With Spider-Man, yeah,
Yeah.
and Wolverine, I think.
Yeah, they did like publish a few games, licensed games before. Like I remember they published a couple Disney games, but like this is now because now they're like working with these like these games.
Yeah, and I was like, it's exclusive to PlayStation, like Spider-Man. Well, exclusive quote unquote, but made under the PlayStation name or the PlayStation Studios.
Yeah,
it's on PC technically, but it's still under PlayStation
Yeah.
Studios, so it's still technically an exclusive.
Yeah, it's like on consoles at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think, but get back to like the stigma. Like, I'm not gonna say that like every licensed game is amazing. Like, obviously not. There's some truly awful stuff I have played, both like on my own and on my channel too. Like,
Yeah.
but I think that there have been at least a good chunk of really good games. Like, I would say, like, in general, like, the overall quality is mixed. Like, I think
there's definitely more good like licensed games than people give it credit for sure.
Like, I think there's more real good hidden gems in this than like bad ones,
really
bad ones, like again, you got your Superman 64s, your Charlie's Angels, your
E.T.
I guess E.T. and
Yeah.
your Simpsons skateboarding.
Right. Was it Hit and Run good though?
Hit and Run was awesome. Yeah, Hit and Run is like one of the most popular licensed games.
Yeah.
Well, that and Road Rage.
Right.
But I just kind of think, like, my thing is that I just think there's more good licensed games than people give it credit for. Like, that's like my thing.
I agree with that.
Like, I'm not gonna deny that there aren't bad games. There definitely are bad games, and I will indeed talk about more of those too, because a lot of those I actually think are interesting to talk about for how bad they are. But I equally love talking about games that are just really solidly done. And again, I can't spoil what the DreamWorks stuff, like the rest of the DreamWorks stuff I'm doing, but there's a few games I've played that really surprised me at how genuinely really good they were. But I can't. I can't say anything else about that, but.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this earlier, but by the time this episode comes out, I think it'll be out, right? Yeah, by then. And I'll link that video wherever it is when this episode comes out.
Yeah, it's not the next DreamWorks game, but it is like, but it is a negative game. I'm talking like it's not a good game, but
I got you.
But it is like a game I do find kind of interesting, which kind of goes into what I want to mention next, and that's like
go ahead.
That's kind of like the licensed games from the 2010s, because they kind of started to disappear from this time. Like you still had them. Like, I know Adventure Time was getting a lot and a few DreamWorks games, but and of course we got like the Batman games. But like ordinarily, THQ was pretty much gone by the early 2010s. Activision was not making any movie games. Disney shut down Disney Interactive.
Yeah.
So like,
I remember that.
And like, games were just getting more expensive, so you saw like a very slow decline in them. And it wasn't until like recently with like Game Mill and Outright Games where we finally get to see them again.
Yeah, and like I also remember on top of that, like there used to be a superhero game with every superhero movie out there, but around like the 2010s, like we stopped getting that. I think the last MCU game was actually like based off of the Avengers.
That was canceled actually.
Was that canceled?
Yes, you're talking.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
There was an Avengers game, but that's the comics. But the last Marvel game, like based off the MCU, was
Thor?
Captain. I think it was
Captain America.
Captain America, the first soldier.
Yeah, the first soldier or the first Avenger.
Yeah, that was the last MCU game. Because now it's just mobile games, like because it's like easier to make, like because kids are like they're mostly on their phones and such, so like why make a big console game where you can that not a whole lot
it costs
of
more money
play,
and not a lot of people are going to play it when you can just make mobile games.
Where you can just make mobile games. It's just much easier, which that's just how it was, and it still is now. But now we are at like we're kind of getting back into that old era with like Outright Games publishing more games, and
Yeah.
Game Mill, of course, with All Star Brawl and the kart racer games.
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so it's kind of neat, and of course you got Sony and Nintendo publishing game, like licensed
Yeah.
game now.
And Square Enix publishing like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Marvel Avengers and stuff like that, like their own like universes, but
Yeah,
still based off of superheroes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just think.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say I also just find it fascinating how the stigma behind licensed games has changed from like being kind of a joke to people actually being like anticipating and waiting for these games to come out. Because like I remember, I feel like there's like you have your gems like Spider-Man 2 and like GoldenEye, all that stuff, but I feel like the Batman Arkham series was like the first like licensed game that people actually started taking seriously. I remember I don't remember this, but I know like from word of mouth or like just looking at the history of Arkham Asylum, the first game. I remember people weren't as hyped about that because they were like, "Oh, it's just gonna be another Batman game." Like, because I think the last Batman game was like
Begins.
Batman Begins, yeah, something like
Which,
that. And that game probably wasn't very good.
oh no, Begins wasn't that bad from what I hear. It's Dark Tomorrow. That was
Dark Tomorrow. That's what I was thinking of.
That's the infamous one. Batman
Yeah.
Begins I heard was alright, but I haven't played it. I can't say it,
But
yeah.
Asylum was like the first like licensed Batman game where everyone was like, "Wow, like you can actually make a good Batman game and have it sorry, I got distracted. And have it like stand on its own in its own universe and stuff like that." And then like when Arkham City was announced, people started getting happy about that. And then of course with Arkham Knight, people got hyped about that. And then people were like, let's make more games, or what's the next licensed game going to be like? And that's when people started looking at Spider-Man, and I think the Amazing Spider-Man tried to copy Arkham City, and it didn't turn out very well, and people didn't like that as much. And then we get now the new Spider-Man games that are kind of copy the Arkham games, but are doing their own thing, that are now standing on their own. And then now we have like Guardians of the Galaxy, which are completely different games. Harry Potter's coming. We don't know how good that is. I think it'll be out by the time this episode comes out, so we'll see when this episode comes out. But that game is literally one of the most anticipated games of all time, or of this year, or 2023. And like we have I can't think of any other licensed games off the top of my head. I think One Piece.
Did you mention
right?
Kill the Suicide Squad game?
Oh yeah, that one. I mean, that one people kind of have a little bit of pause to because we don't know too much about that, and also like I didn't mention Gotham Knights. That game wasn't that good.
I heard not
from what I heard
about it. Yeah,
I mean, people were so hyped about it. It wasn't a good game.
Yeah,
but no, it should be good. Like I have high hopes in Kill the Suicide Squad or Kill the Justice League.
I think what also like kind of is making a lot of these licensed games for people to look more fondly of. I think it's because again, like I said, the GameCube, N64, and Wii era, that's where like a lot of these games like people know of, and because people have got like those games are like 20 years old, I think people are kind of looking back more on it more fondly.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
That's what I kind of got to.
Okay, yeah, and that also goes into like Battlefield Bikini Bottom getting remade, because I know that game. I don't think it was as good in reviewers' mind when it first came out, but it's gotten a cult following with people who figured out speedrunning tactics and stuff like that, and that's why it got remade, because of the cult following behind it.
Yeah, like it
was. So yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, like it got decent reviews back then, but like nowadays people love that game. Like,
right.
Like. And now we have that remake, and now the Cosmic
Shakedown, yeah, and that looks really fun. I don't know if I'll get it, but it looks really cool.
Yeah,
I might wait for reviews for that, but yeah. And also like on top of that, you got the Lego games. Like all the Lego games. I feel like Lego games is another topic entirely, because I feel like those are licensed games, but like it's also like its own genre on its own.
Yeah, Lego
like
games.
People, go ahead. Sorry.
It's alright, but Lego games are kind of like they're their own beasts, and they never went away.
Yeah, no, they you're right. Yeah,
like they've been around Like,
And we got to the point where people were getting hyped over, like, I mean, it's already came out, but the Lego Star Wars game that they just made, like,
yeah,
people were like hyped
Skywalker
about that when
Saga.
that came out. The Skywalker Saga, yeah. Like that's how big Lego Star Wars or Lego games. Well, I guess Lego Star Wars in particular, because that was like when the first Lego game that really took off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that was people were hyped about that, and that was like a licensed game for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think that's really cool.
But yeah, I'm really like I haven't really played a lot of the modern stuff, like the ones not like I played the Spider-Man PS4 game and the new Turtles game that came out, but I haven't like played the ones by Game Mill, at least most of them. Like I haven't played the Nickelodeon games they put out yet.
Yeah, me neither.
But I do want to give do want to see how some of them are. Like I want to see what
I'll say.
I don't
Sorry,
know
go
what
ahead.
like I want to see what that Hotel Transylvania game is like, or that or those Ben 10 games, or I don't know whatever that Spirit game is, like based off
Spirit
the,
has a
the
game?
horse from the
Yeah.
dancers. Yeah.
Didn't realize I had a game. That's
Yeah,
cool. I guess.
yeah, I had the Game Boy Advance game, and now it got like I think a brand new game based off the new movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
No. Let me know what you think about that. I don't know if I'll pick those up, but let me know what you think.
Yeah, like because I love looking at the weird stuff, like
Right.
like Loons, the Fight for Fame for the Xbox. I always bring up because no one has ever talked about it. I'm probably still probably one of only 2 people on YouTube who's actually talked about it on YouTube. And
Right.
I mean, the game is trash. But I love it how trash it is, especially when it keeps breaking. It's so good.
Yeah, I guess I'm a normie because I don't really look into like those licensed games because like I guess it's kind of lost that appeal of like wanting to play anything with like a character that I associate with anymore. But like I do I still like to look at like what they are and like how developers either fumbled the bag on it or actually gave us a hidden gem, because one of the newer licensed games that haven't gotten a lot of traction but it's actually good is the Samurai Jack battle for I can't remember what it's called.
Battle Through Time.
Yeah. I actually played a little bit on Apple Arcade. It's actually pretty good, and like no one really talked about it. Like it got good reviews, but after like those reviews went up, like no one really talked about it after that.
Like I heard like good things, but I didn't hear anyone. I didn't really hear anyone really like talk about it that much afterwards. I want to play it, but I do want to play the other Samurai Jack games. Although
really? Yeah.
I did look up other day. There's a GameCube game, and PS2 Samurai Jack game. The PS2 apparently from what I looked up the prices for the PS2 one is like $60. And the GameCube one is like $150, and I'm like,
that
what?
checks out, dude. I looked up like this isn't a lesson game, but I looked up how much like the GameCube Mario parties are, and like they're like well in the $200.
Yeah,
like, I am not surprised.
I'm thankful I have them now.
Yeah, I envy you because I didn't grow up with GameCube. I mean, not that I don't think I've ever really been huge with Mario Party, regardless, but like. The fact that you have like those games just on hand, like the idea that those games cost so much and you just have them casually, I think it's pretty cool.
I've had most of them for a while. Like I remember getting the 1,000-Year Door a couple years back, and now it's like $150 complete, and I'm like, oh man,
guess you gotta settle for the Nintendo Switch version.
Yeah, or
wait, or
until GameCube Online.
Oh yeah, that's the GameCube version. Sorry, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm just surprised because like and I'm just kind of surprised. Like even licensed games were getting up in price. Like I mentioned Samurai Jack, but even stuff like there's a Futurama game for the PS2 and Xbox that's like worth $150 to $200.
Oh my god!
And
I didn't even know there was a Futurama game.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it was like
Considering how troubled that show's production history is, I'm surprised they made a licensed game out of it.
yeah, and it was like released super late into their lifespans. Like
That's crazy.
that was like I think near the tail end of the original show's run.
That's
So
crazy.
like now that game is so like so hard to find now. And
yeah, I bet it is.
there was another one I was looking at. It was the what game was it? It was really insane.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It was there's this Transformers game on the N64 that's now worth like $1,000 complete.
I wonder what that looks like. I never heard of that game.
Oh, it's a beast. It's based off Beast Wars, like the original '90s CG one. And it's on N64. Like, I mean, on cartridge it's like 80 to 100, but like getting like the complete in box is like $1,000 or $800.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like because it was a Blockbuster exclusive. So.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of the few Transformers.
That's probably why I haven't heard it.
I'm missing. Yeah. Yeah, I mostly played like the Transformer stuff from like the PS3 and 360 era.
Yeah, I had the movie version of the Transformers game on PSP, and it was really bad. I don't think I beat that.
Oh yeah, that game. I didn't have a PSP, but I remember trying that game back then, like, and it was interesting, but it was. Oh man, it's not good. It is. And then I replayed it like bad. A couple, like years later, and I'm like, oh my god, this game is trash. Like,
yeah, I realized that back when I was a kid, when I had like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and like the Ben 10 game, and loved those games, or at least the Ben 10 game. That's how I knew. That's how you know that game was bad, when I said it was bad back then.
Yeah, like. Yeah, the Transformers game on console and DS is way better. Those are what you should be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. And I honestly, I kind of noticed that console games, the versions of the games I had were the better versions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have like the best version on the PSP, but it's usually not the case.
Yeah, it's usually the console one is better, but there are like occasions where the handheld one's better. But
yeah. But yeah, so do you have any other thoughts on like the direction of licensed games, or like just that stigma, how they used to be kind of frowned upon and now they're kind of seen better? I'm just
glad like that stigma is mostly sort of going away. Like I just hope people are a little bit more. I just want people to be a little bit more open to some of these games and not just write it off because it's not like a Mario game or like a Sonic game. Like I just think people should be just a little more open to some of these games.
And I will say, like, some licensed games, like the ones you were talking about, it's all about the marketing. Because like, if they look like games you would see back in the day when licensed games were more frowned upon, I don't think people will pick it up. Because like nowadays, like the Spider-Man PS4 games and like the Harry Potter game that's about to come out, and like the Batman games, all that stuff, those have like a lot of like great marketing, and they have like trusted developers behind them and stuff like that. Insomniac Games, they made like Ratchet and Clank and Ratchet and Clank and Spyro and all that stuff. Like those guys made video games before they made Spider-Man. And you have like Rocksteady, who they weren't known before Arkham Asylum, but because they made Arkham Asylum and like the Arkham game is really good, now people are looking at the Suicide Squad game and like thinking that it might be good. And the Harry Potter game, I think that's by
Avalanche.
Avalanche, what did they make?
Toy Story 3.
Oh, well, there you go.
And they also made Dragon Ball Z Sagas and the original Tak trilogy.
Yeah, and plus, like, it looks like a really cool game. Like, the marketing for that game is, like, really good. And that's probably why people are really excited for that. I personally, hopefully I'll become a Harry Potter game before I go off on this Universal in a little bit. But I personally am not a Harry Potter fan, but people who are Harry Potter fans are really excited for that game.
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like that's probably why those licensed games are getting more traction than the other ones because it's the marketing.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like
like.
I am seeing more commercials for like the bigger stuff than like the ones by outright games or Game Mill. Although Game Mill did market, I did see a lot of like stuff for Kart Racers 3 and All Star Brawl.
Yeah, and if oh well, yeah, and if also Brawl honestly isn't that great.
Yeah, I haven't
If I'm
played
being
it,
honest,
but I
it's okay. It's like I feel like they're trying too hard to like be a smash killer, and they didn't really think about the mechanics of the game.
yeah.
But which is funny because like what's it Multiverses, which is another
Yeah.
kind of smash clone. It's a lot better than All Stars Brawl, and I feel like that's a better contender. It has some bugs, but it's like in early access, so it's okay. I think it is, still is. I don't remember, but I feel like that's a way better like Smash clone than All Star Brawl, and it's free, so there's that too.
Yeah, I definitely want to check some of those out in the future.
Yeah, but yeah, so we talked a lot about like our thoughts on like licensed games we grew up with, how licensed games are seen by other people, things like that. So I thought it'd be fun to actually pitch our own ideas for licensed games for characters or TV shows or movies that either have gotten licensed games and weren't that great, or have not had licensed games before.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go first. We'll do maybe we both have each have our own list. Let's see. We're about we're almost at an hour, so we can probably do like maybe two or three
Yeah.
from each of us.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll go for that from there. So I'll let you start.
All right. My pick, I'm super surprised there is no Gumball game. There is no
Oh
Amazing
yeah.
World of Gumball game. Like, yeah, he was in Battle Crashers, but in terms of like an actual game he doesn't have a single console game, which is really surprising. Like, you think
Yeah.
this big Cartoon Network show would have something. Like Adventure Time got some. Steven Universe had a couple. Regular Show got one 3DS game, but Gumball, no.
Yeah.
He didn't get anything. And
What genre of game do you think that would be?
I would say
Like,
it would be more of like a 2D type of
platformer?
Like
Okay.
like because Gumball, has a ton of visual styles to it. So
Yeah.
making some of these levels would be super cool to see. Like, you would get different environments to each of them, and like every level would feel just really distinct from each other. Like, I don't know. I would say, like, I mean, the best I could say is still like a 2D platformer at most, maybe a Metroidvania. If
Okay.
maybe.
I also feel like it needs to be like the humor of the show needs to be intact as well. Like I feel like it can be like meta, kind of similar to Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah.
And I never played that game, but I heard I've seen, I'm sure you've seen James' video. I saw James' video on it, and like one of the most aspects about that game is how meta it got, how it made like references to other video games, stuff like that. So I feel like Gumball should do that, since I feel like that show is very meta, is very like has a lot of dark humor, has a lot of like references to like it being a TV show and like all that stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, Kid Icarus Uprising is an amazing game. So
Yeah,
good.
I need to play it. I hope they remake it for Switch. I would totally hop on that.
But yeah, I think Gumball, like, he's long overdue for like at least one.
Yeah, I would play a Gumball game. Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot you could do with that.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, if I had to pick out another one, I would love to see an Amphibia game. Like,
Yeah.
like, I want to see like an adventure game with these characters. Like, I want to like
an open world like RPG. I could see that definitely.
Yeah,
with Amphibia.
like a Zelda type game.
Zelda like
that would
yeah,
be...
especially with all their references to Zelda. I feel like a Zelda like Breath of the Wild-esque game for Amphibia would be
like,
really fun.
Yeah, like I don't
or Genshin Impact.
Like
even.
It probably wouldn't be. I don't think it would be that likely, just because Amphibia did just end. But
yeah,
if like, but I would. But there's a lot of potential you could do with one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess one of my games. So, The Flash. I was actually talking to people about this because the Flash is like a very popular superhero, but he doesn't have any games. I think they were gonna make a Flash game. Do they have? Is there a Flash game?
There is a couple Flash games. I think there was one for the Atari, and then there was one on the Game Boy Advance. I think there was one or two, and then there was gonna be a big budget Flash game on like consoles. But that got canceled. There's still
I feel like
there's still like prototype footage you could find of that game too.
Yeah. I haven't seen that prototype footage, but like after playing Sonic Frontiers, I feel like a Flash game. I don't know if you played that game.
Oh, yet. I did. It's really good.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed for the most part. I enjoyed the gameplay. It's not perfect, but like I think it's a solid game.
Yeah.
But like I feel like the Flash should play like Sonic in that game, where he can like run around. Well, obviously run around fast because he's a Flash, but also his combat should like be geared around his speed. So I know like he has like his little. He can make little cyclones by doing little arm circles. Yeah. He should do that. He can also run around enemies, make cyclones like that as well. Maybe have like mini games or something like that where he's trying to chase something and like he has to like beat it in a race, something like that. Like I think you can do a lot of cool things with the Flash video game. Mm-hmm. And then the one video game or one licensed game I also thought of, which I don't think anyone would ever do with this, but they might considering how popular the show is, The Office. So hear me out. Is there an Office game?
There is one for PC.
Oh, is there?
Like there is an actual Office game. Like I'm not making this up. There is an actual Office game.
I should have probably looked this up. Oh, there is.
Yes, it's like this. It's just a PC game, but it was given like a physical release, so it is a true game.
What kind of game was it?
I think it was like a management simulator.
Because that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Or at least kind of like Phoenix Wright, where it's like it's like a
text-based adventure game.
Text-based adventure, or like Telltale games, like Mystery of Phoenix Wright and Telltale games, where it's text-based, but you can like choose the outcome for certain characters. Like I guess you can be like the new employee of like Dunder Mifflin, and you have to like navigate like all these wacky characters or lives and stuff like that, and like decide kind of like the outcome of like a story or something like that. Oh God, I think that would be really cool.
Oh my God, I actually kind of want this game now. Like that Telltale, like that Telltale type Office game. Like like someone make that. Like I think that would be really cool. Get the original actors. Like get Steve
they have to
Carell
voice
for
them.
It and like that.
Get John Krasinski, get Rainey Wilson, all of them.
Get everyone in there. Like that would that would actually be really cool. An Office Telltale type game.
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, but
or you can make it like Souls, like
Dark Souls Office.
I don't know how you would do that, but that'd be really funny.
One of the bosses
is a straightened strangler.
Yeah, or it's one of the bosses could be the fire, like that they have to.
Oh yeah, the fire.
Like
that'd be funny.
Hear this,
yeah, that'd be really funny.
Someone needs to make another Office game.
Yeah, I think The Office is really popular, especially nowadays. I feel like an Office like licensed game would be really that would do really well. So Universal, if you ever listen to this, or Peacock, no, it's Universal. Universal owns Peacock. Get on that, please. Get rebuild Telltale from the ground up and get them to make an Office game. I think that would be Or is Telltale's back?
Telltale
right?
is back, but I think it's like a different. I think they're back. Yeah, they're back because they just did the Wolf Among Us.
You're right. They need to make this is a tangent, but they need to make Batman season 3 because I was really invested in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you played that.
I played only.
I think that's my first.
Only season 1. I didn't get to.
Season 2 is really good.
I didn't get to Enemy Within.
Yeah, that was really good. I think that was the first Telltale game I ever played, and I highly enjoyed that. I recommend the season 2 if you ever get to that. But yeah, I think we have time for maybe one more from each of us. So if you want to read off another one,
I would really this is another Disney game, but I would really like an Owl House game too. Like again,
Yeah,
I would like to see like I definitely would see this one being like an RPG. Like
yeah, like a turn-based RPG or just like a traditional like Western RPG.
kind of maybe I think I'm leaning towards more turn-based.
Okay.
I feel that like the Boiling Isles, like there's so many like areas you could do.
Right.
And again, I don't see this. I don't know if I'd see this one getting a game either. It has like a mobile game, but not like a console one.
Right.
But if they were like, I could see an Owl House game working really well as a console game, like with how much, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, like with how much characters you could choose from.
Mm-hmm.
And like how
And like they can have different abilities of that.
Yeah,
and they show them off in the show as well. I agree.
like I would
Yeah.
like maybe something like that Steven Universe game,
I haven't played that,
like
but
it was like a turn-based RPG.
Battle for something.
It was
I think I know what you're talking
It
about.
was Save the Light or Attack the Light.
Save the Light. That's what it was called. Save the Light. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like,
I haven't seen gameplay for it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like maybe make it something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would work really well.
Yeah, no, like I can see that per Hour House. I honestly watching that show like and see all the different abilities. I was like, it would be really cool to like play that some way.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion. Yeah, I think that would be really cool if they made that. I guess my last pick would be My Life as a Teenage Robot, which is a old cartoon that I think people still know about, but like it was basically like teenage robot or a robot that scientists made who acts like a teenager. She goes to high school and stuff like that, but she also has like villain of the week villains every episode where she like battles like aliens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool if they made like a Devil May Cry Bayonetta like hack and slash style game for Jenny to fight. That's the main character's name, or
Jenny Wakeman.
Yeah, because she has like all those like weapons and abilities in the show. I think it'd be really cool to show that off in video game form with like these Devil May Cry-esque cutscenes and like these abilities you can do in like in gameplay stuff like that. I think that would be really cool, and like go all the way with it, like make it M-rated. Actually show her like cutting people, slicing people up, and with all the blood and all that blood and guts and all that stuff. I know they probably wouldn't do that because it's a kid's show, but I would really love that a lot. I think Samurai Jack was actually team rated. The game we just talked about,
Battle Through Time.
Yeah. I think that was teen rated, so I'm pretty sure you can at least make that teen rated if they really wanted to do that.
Battle Through Time, I believe, was. I'm gonna check this if what it was rated, but yeah, I would love a My Life as Teenage Robot game. Really surprised they never got like a game. Like
I was actually expecting you to correct me, and be like, well, actually, this is a game, but I guess it didn't. That's interesting.
It was in the Nicktoons games, like
Freeze
Frame Frenzy and Attack the Toy Bots, but it never got like a standalone game.
Oh, now I think about it, Invader Zim would be a really cool game too. I don't know, maybe like GTA style, where he's going around like destroying stuff.
Wait, isn't that just Destroy All Humans?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, that's just
Destroy All Humans, something like that.
Zim's voice actor is in Destroy All Humans.
Oh, really? He's also in the new Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah.
What's his name? Ben something.
I forget his name, but and also Samurai Jack was rated T. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Steven or Richard Steven Hordzovitz, that's his name.
Yeah, such a great.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's a phenomenal voice actor. I love him.
Yeah.
Very iconic voice. He also voiced Billy.
Yeah.
Billy and Mandy.
He voiced Billy, and he was also. I remember him as Chaos in Skylanders.
Oh yeah, he was. I remember that. He did such a good job with that.
Yeah, he was.
I never played. Did you play Skylanders?
I played the first 3, and then I watched the Netflix show.
I got you. I didn't play the games. I just remember his voice from the commercials.
Yeah, like he's great in those games and the show.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in the show. Yeah. Also, we're going on a huge scene right now. We're about to wrap up, but like I remember seeing clips of Crash Bandicoot in the show, and it was really weird seeing him talk. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not like a huge Crash fan by any means, but it was so weird like seeing him have full sentences.
I'm used to him just saying like one thing, or him, or if it's like the Titans games, him making these like weird sounds like the da like that.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you, Crystal Omega, for coming. Do you want to plug any of your stuff?
Yeah, I'm happy to be on. But I have a YouTube channel that you could check out below, and I also have a Twitter where I post whatever on there. So feel free to subscribe if you want to see me talk about dumb licensed games and whatever is on my mind, and follow me on Twitter if you want to just see what I'm up to. And that's it. That's all I have, at least at the moment.
Yeah, and Crystal, I can't stress enough. His content's really good. Like I think he's probably one of the most unique YouTubers I've ever met. Please check out his stuff. It's really good. And I'm really glad you took out the time of your schedule to talk to me about licensed games, and hopefully we can do something else in the future.
Yeah, no problem at all. And you also make some really amazing videos too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. I still haven't figured out my outro. 4 episodes in, so I haven't figured it out. So I'm just gonna say bye. See you in the next episode if there's more episodes.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening.
I hope you all have an amazing day and take care. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's your outro. I don't have that. I need that. I just say bye, guy. I'm like more critical. I'm like, oh, that's about it. See you. But I don't even say that all the time. I just use that in my stream. Anyway, bye, guys. Thanks for coming.